One of the hottest questions going on right now when it comes to Kaiju number 8 is which 5-star character should you choose, as everyone gets to choose one to start their journey on the game. Today we're going to talk about that and give you guys my opinions on that matter. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments down below which character you selected. So firstly, before we get into anything else, I want to tell you the most important thing is screw the meta, screw anything else. Obviously, it's cliche to say it, but I'll say it anyway. Choose your favorite character. If that's a waifu, if that's a kaiju, whatever it is, make sure that you choose that character, because that's the most important thing that will keep you playing the game for as long as possible. Another thing to consider when it comes to this game is as follows. There will also be these tickets you guys can get and use, so maybe you pull your selector after you've done any other pulls potentially. Maybe you decide to pull for Reno, who's going to be somebody I briefly may mention in this video, but if not, it'll be another one. But there's alternative things that you can kind of do, and the reason I would recommend maybe waiting potentially, and I know it's a week later, but still, is maybe you're going to get that character in a dupe. That's not to say it's not something you could use, but that's possible, right? So in this video, the first thing I want to tell you otherwise as it pertains to the characters is I went through each and every character that's listed here in the game, right? So all the SSRs, I don't know about the SR characters. So there could be an SR character that does something really good that could pair with one of these characters. I don't know if there's a way to view all of that. I couldn't find it, so let me know if there is, and I'll mention them in the comments as I go through them, of course. And when I say go through, I mean quite literally, I went through all of this stuff. I mean, this is a text document that I typed out by hand. It's not scrolling it, but it scrolls for quite a while. I typed out all the details on said characters, and it goes for quite a bit. So I know everything there is to know, basically. And to answer the question, which character should you choose, just in general, I want to just flat out say it. Kaiju number 8. You know, that's not a hot take. It's not. But Kaiju number 8 is ridiculous. Let me actually tell you why Kaiju number 8 is ridiculous. Can I pull him up here? Can I see him from here? So this guy is ridiculous, firstly, because his stats are really high. And that's the pullback, because he's not able to equip weapons and stuff. So he's got very high stats by default. And then other than that, this guy is a freaking nuke. He's really funny. Let me pull up my notes here on him. So for Kaiju number 8, he has the highest attack and speed out of all the characters that I listed in the game. It's not really all that close either. His abilities scale with the fighting spirit, which he gains from taking hits. So that's listed here. So after activating normal attack or combat skills, or after receiving an attack, so basically just existing, he gets 1 stack of fighting spirit, and the max stacks on that is 5. And also, by the way, when I considered this stuff, I considered it at the base level. I didn't consider anything at max, but obviously maxed out levels, all that stuff on these skills, it could go quite a bit more. But each stack gives him 3.2% damage and 3.2% attack and 6.4% extra ultimate damage. So just for existing, again, up to a maximum of 5, he will get these stacks here, and that's going to be a huge benefit to Kaiju number 8. Aside from that, he has a very high innate crit hit rate, attack, and speed buffs over here in the other passives. The unit's crit rate goes up by 19%, ultimate damage goes up by 15%, and then over here, attack up 27%. At the start of the battle, he gets 35% defense for 3 turns. He also has a taunt skill in here, which is interesting. He can apply a taunt to the target for 1 turn, which is pretty interesting, because maybe there's another enemy that's going to try to taunt or something like that, but that's a guaranteed thing. He can put a taunt on somebody, and he also gets further damage, or excuse me, defense as well. But yeah, that's really strong. At first I thought it was for him, but I was like, why would he give himself time? But no, it says to the target, so super duper strong. Again, maybe there's an enemy that would have tried to play around that, but he's going to make it to where that enemy is going to force aggro draw. And then also down here as well, he also has a skill for mini kaiju, making the character a powerhouse for bosses and mob farming. Was that on him, or was that a different character? I think this is mixed up. I ran it through an no, never mind. There it is. I ran it through an AI to just summarize it. Anyway, when attacking a miniature class kaiju that has 50% or less remaining HP, inflicts definitive defeat on the target. So he's also the only character in the game, unless an SR has something crazy, that has definitive defeat. Definite defeat. So yeah, that is what it sounds like, I'd imagine. Just delete the character If they're below 50%, they're just gonna get deleted. So he's gonna be super strong. So long story short, easily the top character in my opinion you should be looking forward to. Immense damage dealer, immense single target damage dealer. Look at the ultimate as well. He gets 2 turns of crit damage up by 44%, and then also 2 turns of the blunt damage up as well. So just ridiculous damage. Long story short. And again, some of that's because he can't equip and all that stuff, but he is a super duper high power damage dealer. Now, most of the characters are attack type characters. Quite literally, I think all of them except for Isao are attack type characters. And so I guess briefly, I should pivot to Isao, but I'm actually going to go to his daughter. I think she's somebody that really should be considered as a top choice for you. Some of these characters are really niche. I mean, you'll have like Gen, who is like, I believe like speed focus, speed crit type focus, things like that. And that's cool, right? That's cool, but some of the characters just have different utilities. And so, again, once again, qualifier, unless an SR character does it, Kikoru is the only character that I saw out of all the characters that had the ability to first and foremost put out a defense down debuff on the enemy. So when attacking, if Tip Top Shape is at 3 stacks, has a 100% chance to apply a 2-turn defense debuff to a single enemy on the ultimate. So that is quite strong. And so speaking of the Tip Top Shape, after activating ultimate, consume all Tip Top Shape, but after activating skills other than the ultimate, you get 1 stack of Tip Top Shape up to a maximum of 3. And Tip Top Shape gives the unit 5.5% attack and 11% critical hit damage. So she goes up quite a bit. She's also got a very high speed stat as well. She's one of the, I think she's top 3 speed out of all the characters when fully maxed out. I guess speed doesn't change, but so that's good too. She's got one of the higher speed stats, so that's pretty solid. Attack stat is also really high too, relative to the other characters that we looked at earlier, or that are in the game as well, that I looked at earlier, excuse me. But the main thing is the defense down. She's also, again, very hard-hitting character. It makes her a very strong boss killer as well. The ultimate gauge boost at the start and effect hit rate bonus provide consistency. Yeah, she's also got the effects here at the start of the battle, increase ultimate gauge just flat out, very nice. Then she also has effect hit rate up on the enemy as well. So if Tip Top Shape has 1 or more stacks, the unit's effect hit rate goes up by 30%. And so what is the effect hit rate? Well, she's not really doing much out there, but she will be able to do that extra damage overall. So keep that in mind. But yeah, she's very consistent with the defense down, which is the main thing that you're getting from her. The only thing is that it is on the ultimate, but she does start off with the extra ultimate gauge. And so other than that, she's just a very strong single target type character. And you know, another thing that kind of pops in here for some of these characters is there's not a lot of like dual type hitting. There's not a lot of, because you need to destroy the plates. There's not a lot of, in fact, there's like no elemental stuff other than the Reno that's on the other banner. There's just none of that here. And so options are kind of limited. But again, Kaiju number 8 is the answer, right? Like, and it's pretty definitive that it's Kaiju number 8. I'm just throwing out alternative choices, and Kikoru, because of the defense down, is one that I would consider. Stay tuned, because I will kind of reiterate this stuff and go more in detail on a upcoming following tier list video. I wanted to kind of talk briefly about some of the other characters here. So I briefly mentioned him, but Gen is cool, or that's not Gen, excuse me. Gen is cool because of the focus on him. A versatile attacker excelling against enemies with exposed cores and adaptable to his ultimate gauge. The unique dual type provides flexibility against different enemy types. His ability to advance his action order is a key strength for a turn-based game, and the passive ultimate damage increases always active. So here's how he works. So he doesn't have, he has very, like, his speed is better than I recognize relative to the field. So his speed's solid. Attack was underwhelming. I think it was triple digits, like 990. Nothing fancy there. It goes much higher. I mean, Kaiju number 8 was at 1500, right? But 2 things. So he is, I believe, the only character that I saw that had dual types of damage, shot and slash, right? And so he does this thing where he hits one enemy and then he also hits an adjacent enemy for about half the damage. I don't know why that broke, but okay. I'll keep going and try to fix it. He does this thing where he hits an adjacent enemy, so that's nice to help you clear waves and stuff. So we were talking about Kaiju number 8 and his value. It's all single target stuff like that, right? So that's not exactly here, but you have lesser modifiers. So that's kind of the trade-off, of course, with any character that's got like the AoE hits or multi-targets, things like that. There's lesser modifiers to account for that. But aside from that, he also always has the ultimate damage up by 20%. When attacking a core exposed kaiju, he gets extra damage. And again, with a dual damage type on there, he's going to be exposing a lot of cores. And speaking of which, when causing a kaiju to become core exposed, advances his action order. So that allows him to go much faster if he does push a kaiju into that state. So he's another character that I think is really solid if you wind up, deciding to pull for him. And aside from that, the other characters are solid. They're all good individually. It just kind of depends on what you're going for. So I was getting him and Ashiro confused earlier. Ashiro's got... I keep getting the names mixed up. Ashiro's the girl. Hoshina, excuse me. It's too late for this. Hoshina is the one that has the crit-based focus, right? He's cool and all. But unless you really love him, he's pretty far down my list. But... you could go for him if you want to, but I would probably look towards other characters. So anyway, I wanted to briefly talk about Isao. Isao is interesting because I asked the AI to rank these characters and it put him at the bottom. In fact, I asked multiple and they all threw him at the bottom, which is kind of funny, admittedly. I gave very descriptive, as you saw a little bit. I gave very descriptive stuff. The thing with him is that he is not a damage dealer. Like, quite literally, I think all the other characters are damage dealers. He's not. He's a defensive character. And he's kind of a support character. And so, I don't know that he's... in fact, I know he's not because the answer is Kaiju number 8. I don't think he's worth being your selector choice. But... if for some chance you already have Kaiju number 8, I think that there is content. I don't know what that content is, just hypothetically. I think there is going to be content where he really shines and really can show his value. So what he does is he drops a shield on allies equal to 7.5% of his defense plus 33 to all allies for 3 turns. And then also, while having a shield, the chance of being targeted by kaijus increases. So he's going to be the one taking the aggro, and each time an ally that has a shield receives an attack, he gets extra defense, basically 3% up to a maximum of 5 stacks. And for each ally having a shield, the allies get 3% more damage. So a little bit of like defense and aggro draw or taunting, I guess. Not really, but a little bit of that. Damage up as well. So he's kind of got a lot of things going on. I didn't love how he scales off of attack and defense. That's not great because his attack stat's pretty minuscule, but thankfully his ultimate scales off of defense, which is all that truly mattered here. It just means he won't do crap with the other hits. So yeah, just whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, his ultimate at least did that, but he doesn't even have effects here. He's got a very high modifier. Is that maxed? Yeah, it was maxed. Still a high modifier though on the ultimate. His ult's gonna hit really hard. His ult is going to hit really because his defense was high. So like you need to compare his defense to other characters' attack. At 1200, that's really high. So and then he gets defense stacks. Like the ult's gonna hit really hard. And then extra shields there, like I mentioned earlier. And then over here, after activating his skills, applies effect resistance up for 3 turns to allies. When he has a shield, he gets 20% more defense. Hello, ding, ding, ding. And then after activating the ultimate, applies a damage taken reduction for 1 turn by 10% to all allies. So, like, the only thing he's truly missing here, I think, to be a dedicated support character is, like, healing. In fact, none of these SSRs were that, so I'm pretty positive there's an SR healer because there's no way they launched this game with not having a healer. But I don't know if you even need it, but there's certainly one that's here. But yeah, I think he's really good. So I think that there's content. Again, I don't know exactly what that is yet, but I think there will be content where he's going to be very useful later on. So you know what? I talked a lot about these characters. They're on the top of my brain right now. I just went through all this stuff. And so I guess we might as well just follow up directly with the tier list. So that won't be in this video, but stay tuned. That will be in the next video. And so once again, the answer is Kaiju number 8. However, you do have other choices. You can decide to wait. You can decide to pull first and see if you get one of these other. Maybe you pull and you get Reno and Kaiju number 8 in the same multi. I mean, you'd be crazy lucky for that. Like, that's insane. But who knows, right? Speaking of Reno, if you want to know more about him, click on the following video, when it's up anyway, which will be all about the tier list and where we're ranking Reno and where the AI. So the AI doesn't have him as number 1 either, for the record. Kaiju number 8 is still number 1, regardless. Which, it's all right. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoy, and I'll see you all in the next one.